We think, oh, there was in a cartoon they have a shoe with smoke coming out of it. It really did happen. Apparently 2 Indian waiters literally blew themselves out of their shoes, leaving their trainers, that is the little, Reeboks or whatever, smouldering on the ground when they set fire to a curry house where they worked. This is just strange. Neighbours thought a bomb had exploded when these 2 gentlemen, Nurul and Abdul, were caught in a fireball of their own making that came rolling out of the tandoori. He'd worked on the Hoxton Tandoori in Islington, North London, for only about 2 weeks before the blast. James Parry, who was prosecuting, said the pair, whose clothes were smouldering, were tended by stunned neighbours and an ambulance was called. Both were scarred for life. What happened? Oh, my goodness. What? Neither of them had shoes on. The shoes had literally been blown off their feet and were just smouldering these, and they were actually tended as evidence. The 2 were originally thought to be innocent passerbys caught by the massive explosion. But 2 nurses at the specialist burns unit where they were treated heard them arguing later about who had botched the arson attack. I thought you were going to do what? I'm not going to work with you again. It's all off. And my feet hurt.
Sheriff Sherman Block. I'm Sheriff Sherman Block. If you don't pay me the money, your house catches on fire. Got it?
I am not a person who actually rugs up much. I generally have a T-shirt on. And that's all. Oh, they had you worried and you thought, oh, Mum, turn it off, he's doing that again. As a consequence, if you rug up, I find you find the gold more. Millie, I'm not a Main Street Katoomba. That's an exception. That is the exception. So and I wander around like that, and I find you become tougher, I think. Because girls are sooks. They're always cold, aren't they? I'm cold. Won't you dress up properly? Don't you like a short skirt? No, it upsets me. I'll wear a bag then. Always go to extremes, don't they? All right, wear a bag. I'll be nice. See, I've been working with women too long. I know all the tricks. Except I haven't been in a woman's bathroom for a long time. Apparently things have changed there. Yes, the instructions are in multi-languages now. Everyone's lovely, you notice that? You notice that, Harvey? Everyone's lovely, especially when they die. They'll say, Harvey never hurt anyone. He was just a nice guy. We liked him. You see, everyone's nice, especially when they die. So if you want to find out how nice you are, we'll get someone to kill you in the car park, you see, and then you'll see everyone, all your mates will say, Harvey was a great guy. You don't want to find out that much. Okay, all right. Christie-like party at the Packer compound, Bellevue Hill, Dad owns the whole mountain, is a good scenario. It will have to be ginormous. Oh, Daphne Guinness, do you think perhaps your grasp of the English language has diminished somewhat? I mean, are you 12, are you? It would have to be ginormous to beat Alan Bond's Perth wedding for his daughter Suzanne in 1985, who they divorced in 1988. And OTT spectacular. What's OTT? Is that some code word for something, is it? Over the top, is it? Oh, isn't Daphne such a little, isn't she such a little cutie, isn't she? Oh, dear Daphne. Dean, you have to be called Daphne, wouldn't he? Yes. Hello, Daphne. Hello, darling. Clive on 2GBA. I met James Packer, very pleasant sort of gentleman. Mr. Packer, I found a very charming man. I think I met Prue Gown. I think she ignored me once. That's not bad. And Kate Fisher I've not met, although I've seen lots of pictures of her almost naked. There was a stage there where her breasts were in everyone's face, if you forgive the expression, in every magazine, weren't they? But now she's lost weight, they've disappeared. Isn't it funny how breasts disappear when you lose weight? I mean, where did they go? Didn't you know they've gone? Oh, yes, she keeps them in a box at home now for special occasions. They get in the way, you know. You wouldn't like having breasts, Harvey. You wouldn't at all. You'd never come to work, would you, if you had them? Don't mouth to me.
873 2GB. With this hour's Sounds of Sydney, thanks to Young & Company, your property investment experts.
Now, this hour's Sound of Sydney is worth $300. The sound is traffic and trains. Be the first caller on 131873 to tell me where that sound was recorded in Sydney, and you'll win $300. Here's a clue.
Read all about it.
There you are. Goodness, that sounded like it was near a newsstand, doesn't it? A couple of tricks to do. Now, I don't want you to say they came from me, right? I don't want you to... Neither of these tricks... These are divisive things to do and upsetting things, but there's a couple of tricks. You know the Sydney Harbour Tunnel, right? Okay, this is trick number 1. And I'm not going to tell you who I got this from. This is trick number one. As you're driving along with someone who's not been through the tunnel before, you just work your windscreen wipers a bit, you see, and then you say, oh, looks like it's leaking again, you see. That frightens the pants off people, bit of water on the windscreen. Another trick is that you... this is during summer. In fact, people will be pleased with this. You get to your windscreen wipers and you clamp off the hose that's in front of you. You know the one, right, in front of the steering wheel. So only the left, or the passenger side hose works. Then you turn the little... I know it's Charles. You turn around to face the footpath. So as a consequence, because all the water's going to come through one, it goes for about 6 feet, you see. And you got to be. This is cool though. You got to be cool. So when you drive along and there are people waiting to cross the road, they're waiting on the left there or on the footpath. You just work the thing and it squirts water on them. I know. I didn't say it was adult, but you got to look ahead though. You got to say, did you get it? What are they doing? Are they looking? Are they? They're looking up. Are they? Okay, right. It's just a bit of fun. It's not much of fun, but it's just a bit of fun. But the other one with the tunnel one is extra fun, especially from people in Victoria who you know, aren't always with it, are they? Well, who knows if it doesn't leak? They'd never tell us, would they? No. It's 17 to 9. And good morning.
Good morning, Clive.
Did you hear Mr. Tyler's report a few minutes ago, did you, where he spoke about Mr. Tyson's response to his,
The ear biting, yeah.
No, I'm trying to think of the word. What's the word when you... mastications, that's what it is.
He's been masticating,
That's right.
Mr. Taylor or Mr. Tyson?
No, Mr. Tyson's been masticating in public again.
I'm really sorry that I did. I mean, hasn't he got a squeaky... Not Mr. Tyson. Mr. Tyson's got a very squeaky voice.
Yes.
And that's quite a mistake, I would think, to make, to suggest that to Mr. Maybe that's what Holyfield said. You got a squeaky voice.
Oh, he might have said something else.
Yeah.
Like, don't rape me or something.
Well, as I said yesterday, he is a great Jesus supporter, and I think that's probably the first word he uttered when the teeth sunk into the lug.
It's good to know who's in charge of one's life, though, isn't it?
Well, out there in Las Vegas, in the middle of a title fight, if you hear a man sneer, lend me your ear. It's bad, bad Iron Mike. Well, he said he found religion, and he's God give him the power. But he ain't no vegetarian unless the ears were cauliflower. Yes, he's bad, 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 bad Iron Mike. To look at him, there ain't much to like. Unless your name's Don King, then you hear that old bell ring. Well, Tyson gets what Tyson wants, and he treats heads of women rough. And you wouldn't want to serve him in a restaurant. Hey, man, these ears are tough. If every time he fights, he vandals, he just takes another bite, there'll be nothing left of him, and Tyson just might win. Yeah, he's bad, bad Iron Mike. Yes, he's bad, 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 bad Iron Mike. To look at him, there ain't much to like. Unless your name's Don King, then you'll hear that old bell ring.
See, trust, which he...
The bad bits and you know, facial rash. How's it going? I mean, if you look at yourself in the mirror, look, what is normal? I don't think you should get too worried about it. I mean, people probably like you for your mind. Which could be bad news, actually. But good morning to bodybuilders who spend their whole life looking at themselves as the most pointless, useless enterprise in the whole world. May your body get so big, may you get so high on steroids that you explode one day on a 324 bus. Bits everywhere. This is take one, you know. I can't believe it. I thought take three was better. Yeah, on you, Adrian. Yeah, get Adrian. Break a leg, Adrian. Good morning. What's the quiz of this morning, please? Andrew, you ready?
Yeah, of course I'm ready. On 131873,
Yes.
because it's ultimately a cricket prize, or
Yes.
we'll make it a cricket question.
Yeah, why not?
With which state did Michael Bevan make his Sheffield Shield cricket debut?
We had one the other day like that.
No,
The
we
answer was
didn't.
South Australia. Is it South Australia again, is it?
No.
Not
That's
necessarily.
not South Australia, then.
No, I'm saying not necessarily. I'm not ruling anything out.
Not really anything out, yeah.
With which state did Michael Bevan, a New South Welshman, make his Sheffield Shield cricket debut? 131873, the number to ring. First correct caller through.
Yeah.
First correct caller through wins a $100 voucher from Strathfield Car Radios, are the major sponsors of the World of Football team. Drive in and drive away. Plus, you're in the running to be in the Strathfield Car Radios 12th person at the 6th Test in England. August 21st and 25th. It's at the Oval in London. We fly to the UK with accommodation, so get your passport in order today.
Yes.
And don't forget to be listening this evening as well on the Mike Jeffries Drive Time Show.
Road radio.
Andy, what do you want? You want me to talk sport, or are you going to give me a hat tour?
No. You're very bit delicate this week, aren't you?
I'm not delicate at all. I'm just jaded by you, I think. That's
Are you?
I'm jaded.
Is that it?
Facts. Aussie coach Greg Smith is angry about the team's loss against the All Blacks last Saturday. Cameron Blades, though, should add some mongrel to the Wallaby pack. The forwards will be trying to exert some authority over England early in the game.
To add some mongrel to the Wallaby pack. So we've got a dog, and we've got some... You're so cute.
And as Greg Smith mentioned yesterday, revenge is always a motivating factor. Many will remember that
One of those moods.
Rob Andrews' field goal, which defeated Australia in the quarterfinals in the 1995 World Cup in South Africa. Horrifying moment for most Aussie rugby
Yes,
fans.
it was, yes.
Clive from Kings Langley, good morning to you. Any
Hold on.
chance you're pressing the button?
I'm sorry.
G'day, Clive from Kings Langley.
How are you, Andrew?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful.
G'day, Clive.
That's the way. Now, the question was, I forgot, with which state did Michael Bevan make his Sheffield Shield cricket debut?
It was South Australia.
It was South Australia when
That's
he
what
was
I said.
across there for the Australian
You're a cheat,
Cricket
Clive.
Academy.
You helped.
You little cheat.
No, you helped. Thanks very much.
Well, I
No,
helped
well,
you.
Clive-
I want $50 then.
Clive from Kings Langley isn't stupid enough to cop your tip, surely.
That's
on
true.
it. There,
I'm
good
sorry,
on you,
what
Clive.
was the tip I said?
South Australia.
And what did he say?
But you flummed it.
What do you mean?
You
Is
have
there
flummed it.
another
I'm
way?
saying Clive actually knew the answer.
Is there another way of saying South Australia, is there?
No, I'm saying that you flummed it, and Clive is a lot smarter than that.
It
He
might have
knew
been
the
great minds thinking alike, maybe.
Yeah, since I've got the same name as yours, I'll pick the ticket up for you.
All right. Okay, you've got the address?
Yes, I got
Can you
all
see
that.
yourself at the Oval
Oh, just like
next month, Clive? It'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That'd be wonderful.
You can go with Andrew and build him up.
Fine. Thank you.
Thanks, Clive.
Okay.
Go away. He wins a $100 voucher
He
from
does.
Strathfield Car Radios as well, which will courier out today.
Courier.
Courtesy of FRF Courier.
Yes, that's right. What's wrong with you today?
Nothing.
You got in the poos, aren't you?
No, I'm in a good mood today.
Are you?
Yep.
Why are you having that on me? Because I'm your friend. You see, when your wife leaves you, which is inevitable, when all your friends leave you, you're only left with me, so you really got to look after me.
That's a very horrifying thought. Maybe that's why I'm a bit
Is that it?
jaded.
Because there's so few options left.
Yeah,
that'd
and
get
you're
me
one
too.
of them.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
It's a bit upsetting.
Still, I think inevitably we'll go way forward together, won't we?
I'd say so.
Could you shave though for
You
me?
coming out to the Olympic site with us tomorrow?
Try to stop me.
I won't.
I'm driving the bus.
Oh, no.
I'm driving the bus.
Uh-oh. All right, well, I was going to
We
go.
couldn't get Daryl.
That's a shame.
Daryl can't work out which station he's at. All right, yes, we're all going out, aren't we? It's a Friday, I think. That'll be good. And there's a picture on the Telegraph of a local resident looking at a fire. There's a picture of him. There he is. He's looking at it. In fact, he's got such a big moustache, I don't think you should sit any closer. The fire is coming from a river. It's methane gas, which cows produce. In fact, I think the cows produce so much methane gas, especially over Europe, they're upsetting the hole in the ozone thing. If you want to see the picture of the local bloke, a bloke called David, looking at the flames, you'll see on page 9 of the Telegraph. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. You're one of these lunatic people who drill holes in your body. You know, you see some attractive woman, she's dug a hole in her nose, and there's a ring in there, all through the eyebrow. There's that village idiot on the ABC television Saturday morning. He's got one through his eyebrows. I mean, what's wrong with him, do you think? Another ABC funny person, probably a Triple J person. Anyway, the Journal of the American Dental Association have issued some edict about a bloke had to actually do some piercing of a musician who's 20. This person had 2 piercing on his lips, one on his throat. You know that little bit that hangs down the back of your throat there? You go, ah. You know that thing? It's called the uvula. He put one through there, his eyebrows, nipples, and the department. The department. Now, I know I go into details here, and I know we're discussing this about 24 hours ago. If you're a male and you have a lot done to the department, there's a certain lack of direction at crucial times. You're standing there with your mates, and he says, what do you think you're doing? You say, trying to control myself. Put it this way. How can I say this? Because someone's thinking, what's he on about? If you just had a tube, right, and you had a flute, what's the difference between
You see? A recorder or just a tube, right? What's the difference? Yes. So when you have piercing, yes. God didn't intend that. So there you are. No, put it this way. Yes, it doesn't matter if the seat's up or down, you're in trouble. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, these dental people say these people are stupid to do this. And we don't need the Dental Association to tell us that they're stupid. We look at them. If you want to get a job in this world, you don't start drilling holes in things and expecting people to take you seriously. No. And that includes earrings in middle-aged men. You look silly. You look really silly. Apart from the fact it can be infected and it can be torn and what have you. I mean, in the mouth and what have you. How pathetic. I saw a bloke with a bolt through his head. No, I was only joking, kiddies. That was on telly. Had you worried? No, it was a telly show. 21. Jeffrey's going through a very difficult age. He started when he was about 6 months old and has extended ever since. I mean, yesterday there was Jeffrey's talking about his father. Now, the true story about his father, I must tell you, last time he saw his father up in Queensland, this is funny. He was, they were driving in the car. I don't know whether it was an altercation or what have you, and he just left him on the highway and drove on. Jeffrey's left his old man. So when yesterday when he was discussing about his father, I was going to ring up and say, do you remember where you left him? So there you are. So Jeffrey's going through a difficult time, and Deborah's drug and alcohol conference has been told that treating alcoholics by correspondence is as effective as face-to-face treatment. Off their face treatment. Yes, it's a bit like doing a photographic course by correspondence, a bit like doing any course by correspondence. That doesn't ring true, does it? It seems a bit strange. By correspondence, how are you now? Not bad. Although by the time you get this, I might be either worse or better. Please ring. I can see all that, you know. I just can see that. Send another syringe. The other one was broken in the mail. What do I do with the pointy bit? All this, I can see it all. I suppose you just sort of, there'd be delaying tactics, wouldn't it? Drugs in mail tomorrow. And then a couple of days later, that's the way you get people off these things. It isn't funny. I just, on the surface, and I haven't gone below that, and I'm sure there's some intelligence there somewhere, it seems a strange thing to do. In fact, there are probably a lot of strange things. That'd be a good, our next competition will be things you couldn't do but learn by correspondence. That'd be a good one. All right, the McPhersons, I'll use the word plural here. You've heard about the Mimi McPherson, the rumours about the videotape and what have you. I don't know whether it's true or not. In fact, I don't particularly want to know. I really don't want to know. But there's supposedly a videotape of Mimi McPherson with some boyfriend or something which got out, you see. And you can hire it down the street here. If you get on the internet, the Australian television mob, they all talk about it. Elle McPherson, or Eleanor as I like to call her, has been the target of an extortion bid involving threats of violence and a threat to put revealing pictures of her on the internet. We'll have McPherson page 1, McPherson page 2 soon, won't we? Court documents filed in Los Angeles yesterday said 2 men plotted to blackmail the model and actress. Oh, it's 2 of them. According to one report, McPherson, currently starring in the blockbuster feature film Batman and Robin, which I gather is pretty tame, Batman and Robin. Jeffrey says that Alicia Silverstone has passed her peak. It can happen. Oh, so often women think they're at their peak at about, 30 or something. Sometimes if you look at the soapies, you find some of them are just at their peak for 17 for about 3 months. And then it's not fair, is it? Anyway, she's being blackmailed over a damaging secret involving her and another person. What? Come on, what's this damaging? We want to know, don't we? L.A. man Robert Michael Mishler, 29, is facing 8 charges, and 26-year-old William Ryan Holt of Longreach faces 2 charges of the alleged blackmail. According to a complaint filed on behalf of McPherson, or McPherson as the Yanks say, Mishler broke into her home and trailer coach and demanded she pay him money or the revealing photographs will be distributed on the internet. The document said he threatened McPherson and her property. She was to provide U.S. currency in exchange for photographs which would otherwise be displayed on the internet, the document said. Also, the men would reveal a secret in relation to McPherson. What, that they aren't real? Shock! Da-da-da! And the charges include burglary, extortion, and attempted suicide. Extortion. Oh, dear. Since pursuing an acting career, what's that, not the real thing, is an acting career, is it? McPherson has kept a home in L.A. as well as New York. She's been romantically linked to actors Sean Penn and Kevin Costner. Well, so is one of the announcers on 2CH. He's been romantically linked with Sean Penn and Kevin Costner. I think that's nothing new. Both accused men are being held on bail. That's not Sean Penn and Kevin Costner, although considering how they act, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have them held on bail. LA police have made no comment. I wonder sometimes whether no comment is in fact a comment. I think it would be, wouldn't it? Because a comment is some comment. So there you are, said, this will be no comment. Sounds like the starting gun at the Deaf Olympics, doesn't it? One thing I find very annoying about when people die in the newspaper is the way people go on with a whole lot of rubbish. Like, if anyone, I mean, Harvey here gets hit by, a runaway semi-trailer. The lines would be, he never hurt a soul, everyone liked him and all that business. I mean, have we come across anyone that said, thank goodness Harvey was a real problem, had that, is before the courts many times, it's good riddance. We'd say, I'd say, look at this, there's actually a bit of honesty here. Yes, but they got the two Asian people who were found in that strange situation, suffocated and somewhat devoid of clothes, partially. It says, on their trips to the south coast, they took happy snaps of each other. And all that. I mean, I just wish they'd stop all that, I'm just not strong enough for all that. We're all going to die. Do you know that? On air, often here. College principal Graham Spite last week said he was forced to act after continual complaints from the college's 2,000 students about Miss Edwards' activities. He said, if you just want to sit down for a quiet cup of coffee and you've got someone preaching, that's unacceptable. It's harassment, and we have to stop it. Anglican media spokesman Peter Stewart said Christians had a duty to spread their faith, but to respect other views. Indeed. I do not know the particular of this girl's case. Wasn't it good that they quoted him then? Why not quote you, Harvey, or just get someone going by? Mr. Chow, do you know about it? I do not know case, but happy to give comment for news. What's the point of this? I did not know the particular girl so-and-so. Well, at least they named him. Normally it's, a source close to her said. Yeah, right. Do you really care if a doomsday cult all went and killed themselves? I don't think so at all. I mean, this isn't funny in society. There's a, if a crook kills a crook, we think, oh. I mean, we really do. I imagine the police have to go through all the paperwork, but, I mean, do you think they don't feel any different? When they have a gangland shooting, they think, oh, who killed so? Oh, yeah, okay, good, right. We find it very hard to be sympathetic. Members of a doomsday cult with bases in 4 states, what's that, including an altered one, I would think, have denied they're preparing for a mass suicide, but still expect the Earth to be struck by a comet before the end of the year. It won't be, you fools. There you are. As Victorian police began an investigation into the Order of St. Charbel, Charbel, who's the patron saint of diminished neurons, a local cult member says they have faith that God would take care of them when it strikes. Yes. Denying allegations made by an ex-member of the group's leader, William Cam, also known as Little Pebble, because he's got rocks in his head, had ordered the digging of graves in preparation for a mass suicide, cult spokesman Ted Stokes said suicide is against the moral law. Yeah, right. A one-time member who left the Tyak community 3 weeks ago has alleged the sect spiritual leader told followers to arm themselves for a religious war. What, they're going to try hitting the comet, are they? Take that! Oh! The former member, identified as Peter, told the Melbourne newspaper the group was stocking weapons and believed children in the group would become sleepers to be cared for by angels. However, city-siders will be able to count down the number of days to the Olympic Games. No, it's changed again, dear. It's 1 day less. By reading an electronic sign perched 280 metres above the city. Investment company AMP and the Sydney Organising Committee for the Olympic Games announced yesterday the 7 high sign, isn't that a high five? Would be placed on top of the AMP Tower, what's you say, AMP Tower? It's the Centrepoint Tower, on Market Street. And 3 10 high metal sculptures of Olympic and Paralympic athletes will be also perched on the tower. Shouldn't the Paralympic ones fall? Don't forget to ring up and complain. Come on, 131873 and complain. The sign and sculptures will cost around 2.5 million. Money, which will, of course, ultimately come from us. AMP Investments property head Jack Rich said the sign to be powered by solar energy. It'll be really good at night then, won't it? It'll look just terrific at night. Would be visible for 2 kilometres. 2 kilometres! Oh, 2 kilometres! Oh.
and should be erected by mid next year. AMP came under criticism when it unveiled the plan late last year to use its commercial logo and the Sydney Olympic logo on the tower. In the new design, AMP has decided to scrap the Olympic logo, feeling it will be difficult to see clearly. Oh, yeah, right. Instead, it will erect the countdown clock, which may be used for other purposes, such as giving medal tallies or special messages during the games. And it says the AMP logo is far less prominent, in keeping with the council's signage code. There's no such thing as signage, by the way. Yes, it's all right to a point. It should actually not show the countdown to the Olympics, because we can all nut that out. It should show the cost of the Olympics. You see, the absolute honest cost which the Olympic people know about or don't know about, the actual cost, every itty-bitty bit going towards these Olympics we cannot afford, that should show up, don't you think? That would be constructive, dear people. We've all got a calendar, and who cares how many days it is? But what we do care is the expense it all costs us because of someone's self-indulgence. There you are. What about them apples? Don't you love it when the unionists have the troubles we have? The newly elected leadership of the Australian Workers' Union has sacked 6 staff in the first of a series of planned cost-cutting measures to address the union's budget crisis. They called them and said, brother, I'm sorry, you've gone. AWU National Secretary Terry Muscat, who was elected last month as part of a team which ousted the union's Queensland Secretary Bill Ludwig, not Bill, from the national presidency, says the cuts are necessary because the union is heavily in debt. Hang on here. Remember, this is unionists getting rid of staff. Unionists getting rid of staff. You think they know how to do it, right? Brother. AWU sources say those sacked from the Sydney National Office include senior industrial and legal officers, at least one of whom is planning to lodge an unfair dismissal case. Because redundancy at times were not paid. Brother, you're checking brother? Am I my brother's keeper? Yeah, you are, mate. I thought better from you. Robertson was right. Mr. Muscat said that the dismissed staff redundancy packages would be paid, but the issue had to be discussed at the union's next national executive meeting on July the 16th and 17th. I'd like to be there. Could I get an invitation? It's funny, isn't it? It's no respecter of persons, budget cuts, is it? In this half hour, Professor Deborah Soppin from the Faculty of Medicine, University of Sydney. She's a little late because she had a previous patient had this lump, and I had to wait out there, so we've had to wait while she looks at the previous patient. New things with viruses, do they help each other, and do they work by remote control? We don't know much about viruses, except there are lots of them, and everyone gets one and goes, I can't come in, I've got the virus. So, mate, it's awful, mate. I'm on the toilet all the time and my nose is running. You say, is this unnecessary detail? Mate, I'll be in, but I'll get better. There you are. What was it like when you die? I don't mean on air. We've been through that. I wonder what it's actually like. I mean, actually, there's no time frame. I'm sure it's just, the rest of your lives are buttoned onto that. I wonder what it really is like. Kerry Packer thinks he's, as Jamie Packer said to me once, my old man thinks he's invincible now. Well, it's actually the way he's behaved. It does tend to support that. I just wonder what it actually is like. I mean, the Bible says a certain thing. Fiona says other things. You come back as a small sheep. Thank you, Fiona. Yes. I wonder if there's such a thing as reincarnation, whether Fiona could come back as something useful for society. Now, that's not so bad. Fiona, hello? Fiona. But she probably knew I was going to say that. So she never rings and complains. Actually, she rings, it's usually about 5 in the morning, says, I want to complain about what Robertson's going to say at 3 to 9. Say, OK, we'll pass it on. But only say it after he's done it. Thank you. I'm going now, but you knew that. Not moving! Mine is single cheers when the train remains stationary. At what stage did they cheer when it remained stationary? It looks stationary a minute. Oh, don't cheer yet. It's now still stationary. Cheer, lads. Oh, it's still stationary again. Look, it didn't move. It's still not moving.
Breakfast with Robbo. 5 till 9 weekdays.
Yes, the art of remaining stationary.
What you see there?
I see pink Martian soil,
Great, yeah.
rocks and stone,
What else do you see there, soldier?
mountains and boulders
Uh-huh.
in darker gray tone.
Wasn't that lovely?
I think to myself,
Tell us what you think there, sojourner.
what a desolate world.
Well, that's great. That's noted. What else do you see there, sojourner, on the planet Mars?
Excuse me, could you direct me to the Mars Plaza Hotel?
I see Mount Colston.
Yeah. Pleased to meet you. Where are you going?
Come in, Sojourner. Houston to Sojourner. Did he say malfunction?
Speak to our quiz winner, which is Paul from DY. G'day, Paul.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning to you, Paul. The question was, if memory serves me correctly, who did Steve Bleakley replace as the Crushers coach?
That was Bob Lindner.
Certainly was their inaugural coach. Bob, Paul, well done. You're off to, hopefully for your sake, to England for the 6th Test match. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Oh, that would be very nice if it came about, yes. Thank you very much.
August 21st to 25th. In the meantime, today, courtesy of FRF Couriers, we'll send you a $100 voucher and you can go crazy at Strathfield Car Radios.
Oh, thank you. TGB very much. I appreciate it.
Good on you, Paul. Hold on there. Don't hang up. And Paul will be driving in and driving away at Strathfield Car
Hope he
Radios.
lives long enough to go. What was that?
You've just woken up, Paul.
Has he?
I think so.
Yeah, really. He must be running out of mates.
You have a nice weekend, Clive. wouldn't
What?
you? Have a nice weekend.
Oh, yeah, I've got something planned.
Have you? What?
Oh.
Are you going to paint the house?
No, I'm not.
What are you going to do?
Oh, nothing particularly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just
Oh, good
picture-
luck.
Yeah, I don't need luck. Not at this stage.
Oh, yes, you do.
Just natural charm, my man.
Oh, you're going out. Have you had a date
A date? What do you mean a date?
with a young lady?
Of course.
Have you?
It's a weekend, isn't it?
That's right. That's
And
why I was surprised.
I'm one of the few heterosexual males left in Sydney. I mean, I can't help but have a date with a young, gorgeous woman. You know that.
You're not planning another marriage or something, eh?
No, nothing like that.
Oh.
No. I mean, that would be an unfair thing to do to a woman, wouldn't it? As your wife was just saying to me the other day. She said, I don't mind, Andrew, it's just that when he wants to take his clothes off, things for the romance fades, she said to me. Yes, you know that globe that keeps going in your bedroom? There's a whole pile of them out in the garage.
Oh, you're so kind.
All right.
Well, look, I can understand how women fall over you with you, because you're such a charming
I'm cute.
person.
Oh, I am, actually. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think the person on your T-shirt's cuter.
Thank you.
Hang on.
All right.
Have a nice one.
Yes, okay. Bye-bye. The hard-working Andrew Moore, he'll not leave this transmitter alone this weekend. He'll be exciting at no end. Here's a little story. Can I just read this little story, which is weird? Actually, just stay here, Andrew. Can you tell me the point of the story, all right? This is in the Telegraph. If I missed the point, here, tell me. The biggest crocodile trapped in the Northern Territory for 13 years was also one of the ugliest, a crocodile farm owners said yesterday, right? Janelle Pugh, the co-owner of the remote outback crocodile farm where the 4-metre-long crocodile was taken on Tuesday, said her 9-year-old daughter had named it Scarface because of its deformed face. All right? Miss Pooh said, there are not too many pretty crocs, but this poor old fella really has been hit with the ugly stick. Speaking from her Coolabah crocodile farm, about 220 kilometres west of Katherine, Miss Pooh said he was the second biggest of the 4,000 crocodiles of the farm. Could you tell me what the point of that story is?
It's quite a riveting story, really,
Isn't it? I mean, it's just a story about an ugly croc, but it isn't a story.
I thought they were all ugly.
Yeah, anyway.
Have a nice weekend, Scarface.
Thank you. It's good to have Andrew on our side. Wouldn't you be threatened if he's back at the whole place? The head of America's biggest black church, the biggest one, was yesterday at the centre of adultery allegations after his wife was arrested for setting fire to a Florida mansion owned by him and another woman. Hell hath no fury. Deborah Lyons, wife of the Reverend Henry Lyons, president of the National Baptist Convention and a personal friend of President Clinton, has admitted setting fire to the $700,000 American waterfront home in Tampa Bay. The blaze caused $30,000 damage.
She just didn't like that woman he was on with. They was together, and they're gonna suffer. I am vicious.
Why'd it have to be so vicious? A man will get annoyed and generally walk away, but women... Is it because when they go and have their cups of coffee with their friends and say, you're not going to let him get away with that, are you? Won't please them on a diet. You're not going to, look, you know what I do? So-and-so, that's what I do. Don't let him get away. Men are bastards. I think the system, the underground network really encourages that, whereas a bloke says, oh, bloody quarter with another bloke, wanting to feel a bit down. Why don't we go to the IMAX and have a lunch, all right? Okay, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, okay. Listen, are you going on that trip Saturday week? Yeah, I'll go along, yeah. Now, there's a certain sort of externalising, but this vicious. Why do you have to be so vicious? We'll have the sound of Sydney. And I still don't work out yesterday with the clue how that person knew who it was. I'd send some of my lads Sicilian mates around with the couriers, don't you think? Just see if they know in the business. Do you know anyone who works in television? No. Radio. Punch. She's a chicken, that Deborah, isn't she? She's such a chicken, isn't she? I tell her to do something and she has to ask him off air. Robertson wanted me to ask. Oh, okay. What a chicken. It's interesting. What a chicken she is. I mean, Blackstone, Wentworth and Lawson, weren't they men? Burke and Wills, weren't they men? People who worked on the Harbour Bridge, weren't they men? People who invented the computer, weren't they men? But, you know, the great thing is they had someone to adjust their clothing in public, so there is a role. And we've got to say, thank goodness for migration. They do bring us a bit of class, don't they? A bit of, this is what you can do to make the house better. Otherwise, all we have is hot pie and tomato sauce and a bit of rugby league. Ding! That's our culture, isn't it?
With this hour's Sounds of Sydney, thanks to Young & Company, your property investment expert.
It is worth $300. $300. The sound is similar to this. It sounds like our program director whacking onto the 2CH announcers on the bum, doesn't it? So similar, isn't it? I said, not again. They said, no, it's something different. I said, oh, all right then. Here's the thing to do with SECTS. Right, this is for adults. Kiddies are virtual ears.
Bye.
I'm sorry, Deborah, I didn't say goodbye to you.
Goodbye, Clive.
I preferred her when she was demure, when she first arrived and we wasn't sure if she was employed here. Then again, that's true of all of us, isn't it? Began about 6 o'clock. He says people rang from Western Sydney, Newcastle, Dungog and Wiltshire's home as far away as Brisbane. Mr. Dow said he's contacted the RAF to make sure they had no aircraft in the sky at those locations at the time. What, no UFO? Very boring, Mr. Dow. We expected it to be something strange from outer space. Something really weird. You know, little beings that come down and take your clothes off and inspect you. Well, they all do that, don't they? These lunatic people. The point is, you know, that if you make something up and you like the story so much, after a while you can't tell whether it's true or not. Haven't we worked with people like that? That's the problem, you see. And they, of course, ring Mr. Wiltshire each night, don't they? Hello, Brian, am I on? Yes, but what? Use that expression. Magistrates made the order against 23-year-old Alan, whose names I can't pronounce, after hearing he'd kicked flight attendant Ian Marshall, causing the officer's embarrassing and painful condition. There's a word for it. Starts with P, and I've forgotten what it is. No joke. It starts with P. It's in the dictionary somewhere. The 18-stone prop Ford was charged with assaulting Marshall, causing actual bodily harm with the kick, which also damaged the person's urethra. Really terribly painful. It really was. There were certain things in this... It's all to do with timing, isn't it? Isn't it? It's all to do with timing. I mean, there's certain things which are inappropriate, aren't there? And that would be it. So he's been paid a lot. He's paid, been paid money for that. Of course, you see, the jokes will go on forever, though, won't they? He'll never have to change pubs, won't he? So here he comes out. G'day, mate. G'day, how you going? How you going? How's it all going, then? Hey? Yes, he might actually not be too happy about his mates, because he'll have to indicate to them that it wasn't all that much fun. Here's a story about a dead person who wasn't quite dead. A nurse died of fright after opening a morgue in Egypt and discovering a corpse chanting prayers from the Quran. Well, it would do it to you, wouldn't it? The man who came back from the dead, Abdul Sattar Abdel Salawam Badawi, had been declared deceased by a doctor in the delta town of Manufia after he fell into a coma. The bloke said, I was put in, the fact he's speaking shows he really didn't die. I was put in a coffin in the morgue's cold room, and when my body had frozen, I woke up. Well, how awful, eh? I shouted for someone to come and rescue me. He's about 60. He suffered fibrosis of the liver. When no one heard me, I started to chant verses from the Quran to seek God's pardon in the name of all the dead surrounding me. Badawi said, adding that he eventually discovered an opening in the coffin and climbed out. Ooh. What if you could pick up Wiltshire over there? Some 12 hours later, a male nurse opened the morgue on Sunday after seeing a corpse standing up. After seeing this, collapsed and died of a heart attack. The newspaper said, without giving any more information on the nurse, the doctor who declared Badawi dead has been punished by hospital management. Take that. While Badawi has vowed never again to go to hospital. Oh, I suppose the nurse that died, at least they just push him to one side, wouldn't they? You know, wouldn't have to sort of move him far. It would frighten the pants off you, wouldn't it? A bit, I think, you know. Have you ever gone through a cemetery at night? Have you? Just because... No matter what you think, it feels a bit creepy, doesn't it, as you walk over ex-people. Well, the remains of them, of course, they're not ex-people at all. They're just ex-anything. But it is fairly creepy, isn't it? It is really. I did it, I think, once many years ago. And, of course, every noise you hear, you think it's someone coming out of the grave. Hello there, is Wiltshire still on the wireless? Oh. It's all in your imagination, but the imagination is a pretty powerful thing, isn't it? The French yesterday in Paris also showed off all their, you know, their armaments and planes and things and what have you, much as the Russians used to do. Remember that through Red Square? Just think if we had a sort of Australia Day and we did that here, what would we have? We'd have a jeep for the army. There'd be a patrol boat, you know, in Darling Harbour, and a grey painted rowboat. We're slightly undernourished when it comes to armaments. I mean, you know, we only need we only need slightly bigger boat people to come out here, and they're fairly, you know, they had a good meal and we're in trouble, haven't we? Oh, you surrender. Oh, you put hands up. Is that easy? Oh, give me women and food. Oh, back to you one moment. Yes, it's... anyway, so the French were showing off all their armaments and all that sort of business. And why should they not? It's 13 minutes. I was trying to think this morning, actually, in the light of the story, which is in the paper. Are there certain places where men really can't go? I don't think you get a job as an attendant in a ladies' loo, could you? That's one thing. Agreed, that's a logical thing. They'd have to advertise for a woman as an attendant in a ladies' loo. I just think it wouldn't function. But I can't think of many other things if you really want to push it. However, there's a bloke said that he was... went into Sirens nightclub. It says he was called into Sirens nightclub by the songs emanating from the establishment as he walked home after a night out with friends. Have you not been past the place and suddenly, I'm being called into this place? Anyway, he went in there, and he just found that he was a bit of a minority there. He said he found himself one of 2 men among 200 women. What a fantasy. What a fantasy. That's 100 women for each man. In theory. The thing is, the women were WW3s. They weren't, you know, and they weren't particularly interested in him. And the guard, the security guard, we don't know if it was a bloke or not. It's hard to tell. In the dark, threw him out. Says, you know, you can't be here. And he's suggesting this is that somehow he's discriminated against. Well, is it worth the fuss, do you think? Is it really... how long did it take him to notice? It's like in those police academy movies, remember? Yes. Anyway, they claimed that the gentleman barged past the doorman, did not pay the $5 cover charge, and was drunk. Well, I don't know. This is only a claim. In a statement filed for the tribunal, they said she and the bouncer had to chase the man up the stairs after he pushed his way in. Anyway, the hearing's been adjourned. I'll make no comment, except that you probably wouldn't want to hang around if you're, you know, inappropriate there. Look at all those chicks. Oh, just for the taking. Yeah, you take the ones on the left, I'll take the ones on the right, and I'll be in Scotland before you. Oh, how'd you go? Not too good. Not too good.
A teenage boy with a sweet tooth has become Ireland's first internet criminal after ordering 1,600 pounds of chocolate on the credit card of an unwitting Argentinian, or an Argentine. 1,600 pounds of chocolate? The case began last month in a middle-class home in Sutton, North Dublin, where a 15-year-old boy was surfing the net on his parents' computer. I wish they wouldn't use stupid expression like surfing the net. I mean, surfing. Would you stand on the chair with little toes over the edge, do you? Anyway, he chanced upon an American company offering home deliveries of chocolate. The boy called up the order form, filled in his name and address, and lodged an order for $2,000 of dairy milk, toffee, crisp, and Mars bars. Further prompts asked for his credit card number. He made one up, typing in 16 digits at random. 4 days later, while his parents were out, the courier arrived with 3 large containers of chocolate. That would be right. That's for me. Would you mind leaving it in the lounge room, sir? I think it's melting. Would you like a tip of chocolate here? Here's a Mars bar. The boy, who cannot be named for legal reasons, paid the required £40 stamp duty and stashed the bounty in his room. He and his young friend began to sample the chocolate delights. Meanwhile,
Now, I don't believe it was a random number because she could not guess the coding of another number. You know how many numbers they have? The first numbers, I think, give you the country and whether it's Visa or MasterCard or whatever. So I think he's pulling the leg here a bit. You know, he's got a credit card and he's changed the numbers at the end. Meanwhile, the credit card holder in Argentina was distressed to discover that he'd paid $2,000 to an American company supplying chocolates. These are not my chocolates. He denied any knowledge of the order and the hunt for the missing sweets began. The American suppliers checked the order form, realized the order went to Dublin rather than to Argentina, and contacted the Irish police. Hello there, Irish police. Do you find me arresting, sir? The Irish fraud squad began investigating its first case of internet fraud. This is our first case of internet fraud. Police called at the boy's home last week to find him devouring the evidence. According to one Irish weekend newspaper, his parents were dumbfounded at the discovery. They thought he just grew overnight. All three cooperated fully with the police and recovered the remains of the stash. This is the remains of the stash. Exhibit A. As a juvenile, the boy will not be charged with obtaining goods by false pretenses, and the American company donated his booty to a child's charity in Dublin. You mean he limps now? He's only got one shoe? The offender is said to be remorseful and sick of the sight of chocolate. Don't cry for me, Argentina. How many people will want to go from Parramatta Way to Chatswood? That's what they're going to. That's the point, isn't it? And how do you go from door to door and ask people if it were there, would you use it? They might say, oh, I don't know. Would you like a cup of tea? Merv's out the back. He's fixing up the lino. Merv, will we ever go to... Merv, will we ever go to Chatswood? Oh, he's got the batteries in his hearing aid on back to front. You know, I told him the plus goes to the plus. Just a sec. Merv! Oh, he's in the toilet. Could you call back tomorrow? That's what I have to go. That could take years, couldn't it? Anyway, 8-inch bust. Dry, cool, sunny day. If you had a child, it'd drown, wouldn't it? Mummy, put it away. Oh, Mummy, please. Oh, no. If you see the film Sabrina, America as well, the later film of Sabrina, she goes to France and she says yes, and she means no. Like someone say, you're not going then? Yes. Oh, no, you're not going. No. Oh, I thought you weren't going. Because yes, I'm not going, not no, I'm not going, because no and no equals two negatives equals a positive, means yes, I am going. No, I'm not going. Oh, I'll pick you up in 5 minutes. All right, glad we covered that. I'm so glad it's been on my chest for some time. Not the same chest as that previous 88-inch bust. Dry, cool, sunny day. If you had a child, it'd drown, wouldn't it? Mummy, put it away. Oh, Mummy, please. Oh, no, Mummy, not the breasts. Mummy, no. Put me onto solids. No, not those solids. No, out of tins. Oh, Mummy, nightmare time. Dry, cool, sunny day. Moderate to fresh west to southwesterly winds. Harvey doesn't know what they're for. He thinks they're just for men. Yeah. He doesn't understand that there's this subtle thing. Some women are now breastfeeding children with these things, which I find pretty weird. Now, look at the shock. I'm sorry. What a time to tell you. Shocked. You'll be right, will you? Should we call in reinforcements? Dry and windy today. 17 degrees around the metropolitan area. It's 9, which is one above normal in Sydney. Bankstown is 7 and Richmond is 4. Pretty kinky to feed babies with those things, don't you find, Les? Don't you find it a bit kinky? Or is someone having me on? Someone's having me... Oh, is that it? Oh, you guys. I thought... Oh, nearly fell for that. Oh, I don't feel 100%. Oh, what have I done? And I don't know. So this, ironically, could be my last week on this earth. I'll say, that's funny. I was listening about 20 past 5. He was going on in his usual rambling fashion about something, and he died. Oh, well, click, we'll switch to another station. You know, so much for team loyalty. So I lay in bed yesterday dreaming of England, or any other continent, and the phone kept ringing. All these wrong numbers. I've now gone along with a lot of these people. The people ring up and say, is it the X-ray place? I say, yes, I've got your X-rays. It's bad news. Speak to your local doctor. That's one thing I say. Another one is, Mr. Smith, no, I'm sorry, he's in hospital. Could you go and see him? Another one is, Joan there? No, Joan actually is naked in the shower at the moment. Oh, who are you? Just a friend popping in. And all that. So I've now decided, because they ring up, and they don't say, hello, who are you? They're straight up with the conversation. So, someone placed an order for a pizza the other day. I said, do you want the whole thing? You want the Supreme, right? The whole thing? There's free Coke with this? You see?
Well, it's my phone. They ring the wrong number. They assume I'm the people. They assume I'm going along with them. I'm not doing any harm, am I? Do you think? Do you think? I don't think so. No, not in the whole scheme of things. No. No. 21. I've got to say, I'm a bit fed up with this Versace business. You know, we're all going to die. All right, sad it went that way. All right. And what, 100 people have died in Africa? You concerned about them? No, no, because they didn't design clothes. There's no way to be called dead in Versace clothes. Are they for men or women? Both. It doesn't interest me. I really, really don't care about Versace clothes. I buy Target. If Mr. Target gets shot by someone, then I cry. Mr. Targetto. Signor Targetto. But everyone's going on. I mean, is there nothing else that we can talk about? You know, I'm sorry he's gone, right? Let's not get confused here. But come on.
Sydney Games has complained to NAB staff about the other banks. We don't mind the banks fight. It's a bit like the underworld fighting, isn't it? Yes, we don't mind that. Westpac supervisor Trindy Elliott. Trindy? We got Sandy and Trindy. Trindy and Sandy. Trindy? Oh, save me. I couldn't talk to anyone called Trindy. I'd say, I'm sorry. Trindy? Said NAB staff were warned 2 weeks ago the display could breach laws governing the use of Olympic insignia. Oh, really? We rang our marketing section. They asked us to try to get photographs. Oh? Well, the Telegraph got photos, so what's wrong with the other bank? Isn't it pathetic? Isn't it just so petty? If Westpac pays $40 million, well, fool them. You know? All right, now, when you doodle when you're on the phone, don't forget, do the Olympic insignia. Everyone in Sydney, all together now, right? How many rings is it? 5? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, make it 6 rings. Get the NAB people to put an extra ring on it, right? At what stage does it cease to be the insignia? Good point. It's all rather sad, isn't it? It's meant to be fun. Not really, eh? I shall give you an FM time call. Do you want to give it? Just dropping my IQ back a bit. It's 5:46 and a half. G'day. Right. And then people do unusual things, as you see at the traffic lights. It's amazing where their fingers go, up their noses, in their ears, everywhere through their hair, and what have you. That's why you should never touch anyone. You know that, don't you, Harvey? No matter how excited and attracted you have to someone, just don't touch them. Just don't, because it leads A, to babies, B, to recrimination, C, why don't you ring me, and D, you lose half your house. There's some conjecturing in the paper about the host for the Olympics on television. They should use me. I mean, can you come across anyone more objective who wouldn't use all those silly adjectives and get all carried away and embarrass people when Australia wins? I'd say, and it appears Australia won in this match, so-and-so, score so-and-so back in a moment. I mean, they'd say, this man is so impartial. I mean, people from overseas say, hey, that guy you got on there, you know, he's just so impartial. I mean, does he back anyone? You see? Right, so they're suggesting Ray Martin. Well, I think Ray works for Channel 9. I couldn't cope with Thumper. He assaulted me. You know that, don't you? I mentioned that years ago. One of the few people to actually assault me. I think very unwise move, Ray. I'll never forget this, Ray. Didn't actually apologise, Ray. I tried to clear the air because I felt it was unfortunate, but he never did, actually, you know. It was after a long lunch. He had a long lunch. I didn't. Well, so that sort of clouded me just a fraction, that there. Anyway, who else have they suggested? Oh, Ken Sutcliffe. No, Ken, when you can learn to read the auto cue properly, I mean, he's never got it right, has he? It's either on the end of his nose or 300 yards away. Why do we get someone absolutely gorgeous like Elizabeth Hurley? It wouldn't matter if she didn't know what she was talking about, because we could just look. You don't have to put the sound out. I mean, why not entertain people who have no interest in the results? But not the same old people. Someone fresh and new, please.
The 2GB Sounds of Sydney.
Yes.
Keep listening for your chance to win this hour's cash jackpot.
Don't even leave the radio.
Company, your property investment expert.
$3,400. That's how much it's going to be in about 10 minutes. Don't ring now. Don't ring now. By the way, you know, when people go out in the woods, you know, and do a bullamore, you know, so the rest of society comes and, you know, finds you because you're, you know, not too bright, they always say take a compass. Can you tell me how a compass can help you without a map? All right, you're at a certain point. If you think, I must head east, it's still relative again, isn't it? You understand this? It won't point to the spot you want. If you turn around and you point the thing to north, right, and you say, actually, you know the correct spot that you've got to go to, You point and you see, it's at, say, 284 degrees, right? You walk through 4 feet, it ceases to be 284 degrees because you've changed your position. You actually have to have a map as well. So this suggestion of just having a compass, you're better off having a compass with a pencil in one end and a spiky bit at the other, and then you can always grab a bunyip or a wombat or something for food. And with the pencil there, you can write down the recipe, you see. Just a little tip there. Of course, most people don't even go out with anything, and then we have to go and pick up the pieces. No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's not the way to go. That's parasitic. Just because you're out having fun, why should we have to pay for it? A racehorse was stolen from a property near Penrith. Do we care?
Oh, this is the lead story on 2KY this morning.
Oh, well, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they get their priorities right. I mean, do we know about this? What's the name of the horse?
The horse's name is Jane.
Jane?
And the horse is half-sister to a champion racehorse called Bold Amy. If that means anything to you. Apparently a chestnut thoroughbred yearling worth $20,000. Belongs to a man who lives out at Mulgoa and was taken from his property at Fairlight.
But that ran away. Could have got the odds were against it to thrown away.
Could be. There's things to suggest that didn't happen. I'm talking like unlocked gates and things like that.
Well, there might be a clever one. Might have been Mr. Ed.
Hello.
One of Skippy's mates. Oh, Wilbur.
Yes,
I don't really care, actually.
He's 15 hands tall, or she stands.
I don't care. Do you?
No, not really.
No, I think if the thing has got its freedom, I think it's good. It might save a lot of people wasting their money on the dreary thing. Has it been done?
Has it been...
Done.
Done? Has it been done?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Has it had the operation? Because otherwise it might have found someone nice.
Hang on. Has it been done? Oh, I don't know.
Right.
A police spokesman doesn't know.
It's not a laughing matter. You know what male horses are like? They're just not nice. All right, okay. So the horse has run away, has it?
Yes.
No, that's good. I'm so pleased. May they all run away. And may the jockeys actually stay longer in the womb and become literate. They're all premature, you know that, don't you?
Tell you what, it's probably... No, I won't say that.
What? Well, don't say that.
Probably out on the prowl at the moment.
Do you think so?
Being a young female horse.
Do you think so?
I do.
I think we should have gone over into your social life here, but there seems to be a bit of sort of melding here somewhere. All right, Jason.
Done.
Thank you, right.
Yeah.
Okay. People who get involved with astrology really, have got rocks in their heads. Unable to stop the eastward expansion of NATO with traditional political protests, a top Russian lawmaker has turned to astrologers and the weather to give the West a sharp warning. What sort of loony is this person? Alexei Mitrofanov, chairman of the Geopolitical Committee in the Duma, or lower chamber of parliament, met yesterday with a delegation of astrologers to discuss recent political developments, his office said. He's run out of gas, hasn't he? And the astrologers have good news for Russia. Oh, they agreed, did they? Ah. A recent spate of bad weather and flooding in parts of Europe was caused by the NATO expansion. And how stupid is this man? The man should be run out of town. He's a loony. We should send Fiona over there. And never let her come back. Yes, I think you're quite right about that. Your favourite colour's green. Oh, you're blind. Oh, that sort of ruined that. Take 2. Yes, your favourite colour, if you could see, would be red. Thank you. I'm Fiona. No, I can't help it. It's 5 to 9. I really find that a bit weird. But in the real world, there's this argument about having the child at home. It's a stupid concept. And the miracle of birth, it's not a miracle, it's just what happens. If you do it and the little Wrigley finds the egg, 9 months later, out comes this thing. If it's really ugly and not very bright, ends up becoming either a jockey, or after 6 months it becomes a jockey, or works in the media. But there's no miracle, and the parents are so proud. Considering what they did, it's disgusting. You're proud to actually have sexual intercourse. We know what you did. Oh, you're destroying the illusion. Yes, I am. Disgusting. However, that very soon, probably in less than a year's time, there'll be a computer or a computerized telephone whereby, say, the 2GB management ring me at home. How can they do that? They haven't got my number. The boss said to me yesterday, "Oh, I haven't got your number." I said, "Correct." Oh. Well, as a previous boss said, "Could I have your number?" I said, "No, you'll ring me." Oh, yeah, good point. You see, I don't have people my number. I have a fax number when it's switched on. It often runs out of paper. I put 1 sheet at a time. You never know.
you know, there could be a world shortage and they'll come and confiscate all my sheets, so I put one sheet at a time, and sometimes it runs out and it just goes beep, 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 and then next time I put a sheet in, comes out the log. It says, a lot of calls couldn't get through, and I shout and say, I know, there's no paper. And he looks at me sheepishly and says, you could put a bit more paper in me, I'm hungry, and say, mind your own business or I'll switch you off. It's good to threaten a fax machine. Anyway, so you can have this little device next to you, whereby if the 2 GB number comes in, either it goes to a CD-ROM database and tells me who the person is and address who's calling, or I can put, if it's 2 GB 2690646 ringing, show 2 GB on the dial. You see what I'm saying here? Just a cross-reference, a basic database. And I think pretty soon there will be a CD-ROM that will go into a computer so that when the phone rings, up on the screen will become Les Thompson calling from home, which is probably handy. I don't have a problem with that. I think, oh, Les is there. And they say, g'day, Les. You say, you got that stupid machine on, haven't you? Yes? Oh. And what about this this bird who's gone from 2SM, which is sounding pretty good, by the way. It's sounding better each day, especially if Ken comes here. What's it? Bogart Torelli. I mean, it sounds like a 1938 Italian vehicle, doesn't it? Hey, the Bogart Torelli. Why would you call anything Bogart Torelli?
I think the parents were expecting a boy.
The parents were expecting a boy. I think we know which film they were watching when he got fresh with her. Have all the gin joints. Please don't do that. And all the town. Please don't do that. Had to end up in mine. Okay, then. 3 to 6. The FBI, I mean, some of them would have gone to school, wouldn't they? The headline says, Cunanan, you know, this person who supposedly disposed of Versace, he could be anywhere. Hey, that's really significant. He could be anywhere. Is that right, Mr. FBI man? He could be anywhere. Yes, in fact, you and I could be anywhere. We just happen to be where we are, but in the context of the world, we are anywhere. Oh, come on. He could be anywhere. Yes, all right. Good, right. That's good. How much do they pay those people? Obviously not enough. Could be anywhere. Here's something which is just amazing. You've come across people over the years who've written the Lord's Prayer on the top of a pin, right? They've done that. The world's tiniest guitar. This is for embryos. Now, just think about it. Little embryos in there for 9 months, right? Waiting, you know, to get out and meet people and what have you. Here's all the noises from mummy and little muffled sounds of them fighting. And all that, you see. Well, they could give them a tiny guitar. The world's tiniest guitar is about the size of a single blood cell, about 20 times thinner than human hair. This guitar has 6 strings. But when plucked, you can't be heard by the human ear. So the embryo could be practicing, love you, baby, love you, are you lonesome tonight, and all that, and you wouldn't hear the mother wouldn't hear the strings, you see, because they're so high frequency. Scientists at Cornell University carved the guitar out of crystal silicon to demonstrate the possibilities of building electromechanical devices at the microscopic level. So this little tiny guitar, it's 20 times thinner than human hair. It has 6 strings. And if it loses a string, well, they just tap on the mum's wall and say the G string's gone. The guitar itself is just 10 micrometers long. Now, a micrometer is 1/millionth of a meter. A millionth of a meter. The strings are each 50 nanometers wide. A nanometer is 1 billion times smaller than a meter. A Cornell spokesman, Larry Bernard, said on Wednesday the guitar was made for fun, but well, of course it is. That's what guitars are made for. But demonstrates a new technology that can be used to fabricate extremely small mechanical devices for a variety of electronic and other industries. A guitar pick wouldn't do for these strings as wide as about 100 atoms. They could be plucked with the tip of an atomic force microscope. Hey, I love you, honey. I love you, honey. Nanotechnology is already finding a place in a variety of industrial uses in fiber optics, light displays, sensors, and electronics. Harold Craighead, an engineering physics professor who supervised construction of the guitar, says it's still technically possible to make devices even tinier. You mean a little pick-up on that? The question is, how small can we go and still have a dependable and measurable mechanical property? He says, we're nearing the technological limit where it gets harder to get smaller than this. Isn't that lovely? A little 6-string guitar. It's 20 times thinner than a human hair. That, I find, tickles my fancy. That's it. You won't hear that anywhere else on this station.
You won't. This is the sort of... Does Alan talk about this sort of thing? No, it's not big enough. Not big. What are you doing, Mr. Premier? What are you doing, Conservatorium? 6 strings, that small. A shame. People in Struggle Street don't have to struggle that much, do they? What's wrong with a large one? What a waste of money. What do you think? And the guitar, it'd be so small, wouldn't it? I mean, imagine doing a little chord. Your fingers would have to be so small to do your little chord, wouldn't it? But the embryo would be good. Probably suitable, they're probably on Britain would be suitable for embryos 0 to 1 month, you see. I just think that's clever. I'd like to see a picture of it. A tiny little guitar. I like that. Next they'll have a tiny little trumpet. Because embryos really don't have much of a lung to speak of, do they? I mean, they go, that's it. A whole month's supply of air for an embryo is... But still they could play a nice little tune, couldn't they? And a tiny little trumpet. And imagine if you had a trombone and keep bashing into Mum's tum-tum, wouldn't it? She'd say, no more of those low notes. Bang. Oh, stop it. Of course, tiny drums, that'd be interesting. 2 in the morning. Is that you, dear? No, it's the baby. Oh, yes. A whole new world opens up in a rather confined way.
There's no such thing as second-best Italian fashion. At Magazzini Italia, they do seconds best. High-quality samples and seconds from Magazzini Italia Leichhardt mean huge savings on leading Italian fashions.
I think they should redo that ad and get the pronunciation correct. Italian is such a wonderful language. And perhaps a few more high frequencies. What do you think, Magazzini Italia? He actually speaks like that normally now. Lovely bloke. It's just that if it was the accident, you should always report a major accident. If your car runs into someone else or a truck or whatever, I think he ran into a jumbo, didn't he? I mean, you could sue. You see, if you don't report at the time, there's no witnesses, and they can simply say, years later, well, if you're suffering so much, why did it take you so long to, you see? But there he is. Lovely bloke, but just this funny way of speaking. Just really weird. There you are. Just lovely bloke. But there you go. Larry Sanders. We don't get to see that because people don't watch it. That's the best of all, the Larry Sanders show. It's very funny. Channel 10's got them there somewhere. But will they show them? Not as such. Oh, I'm doing it again. Oh, dear. Another car crash. It's got to me. So, the Larry Sanders Show took 16 nominations, including Best Comedy. Channel 10, please, as Home would say, please, could you put it back on again? And not beep it. I know what you're beeping. Yeah, just put it on, even at 1, 2 in the morning, and then we can record it. From the Donaghy clan, Scotland will get its first parliament for almost 300 years. Under plans unveiled by the British government, but ministers insist it won't be an initial step on the high road to independence. All right, so keep your dress on. Scottish Secretary Donald Dewar, hello to you, says in a foreword to a policy white paper setting out a proposal for an Edinburgh Parliament that Scotland will remain part of the United Kingdom. I tell you what I'll do. We'll get our own Parliament, then we'll just get rid of them. You know that, we can see that. The change won't take effect until around 2005, so there you are. And then after that, we'll get them. We'll have our own place.
Disunited Kingdom.
Disunited Kingdom. That sounds like the black influence. That's right, disunited kingdom, man. I see. Mr. Beasley said Australia's image had been improved during the 1960s by abolishing the White Australia policy. Remember John Pearce used to say there never was a White Australia policy? Then again, he said there's never a Galagabo. He's actually correct there. And extending voting rights to its indigenous populations. But he said Australia's standing was being jeopardised by the present racist agenda of independent MP and her assorted bag of extremist followers. This is quite right. This is true. This is one image problem which it is in Australia's power to keep under control. We'd all like H to go away. She's doing nothing constructive at all. Please explain. On Britain's role in the Asian region, Mr. Beasley said he welcomed Britain retaining enthusiasm for the five-power defence arrangements, the FDPA. I like that. We welcome you retaining enthusiasm. Wouldn't that be a great lover's approach, isn't it? Hello, dear. I welcome your maintenance of enthusiasm for our relationship. Are you wanting a drink, are you, dear? Yes, I am. Anyway, so it goes on.
What happens when we die? I mean, to those left behind. There's a great deal of grief, quite a lot of confusion, and plenty of loose ends. A. O'Hare Funeral Directors, a family-owned Australian company since 1942, specialises in helping families through this extremely traumatic period. A. O'Hare, offering a tradition of care. A. O'Hare Funeral Directors, now also with an office in Bankstown.
What is this about breasts? Your counterpart in 2CH there is standing in front of Harvey here, a normal, we think, a heterosexual, and she's pushing her chest out as far as she can.
I think she's a bit funny today.
Is she? Oh, you're a woman. Is there anything we can discuss? What do you mean by funny?
No, I don't know. I mean, if she was that funny, she'd be taking, evening primrose tablets or something.
You know about these things, do you?
No. No, I don't know. What was she? Was she kind of pressing them up against the glass or just
No, she was actually in front of him, a foot in front of him. And she was
says Harvey, cool.
Well, the fact that Harvey's not complaining just supports my fact that he might like that sort of thing.
He's got his shades on.
Of course
he's
he
put
has.
His sunglasses on. He's so young.
I just wonder why you women, why can't you use her breasts for good rather than evil, is what I'm wondering.
What do you mean, come in here to you?
No.
No.
No. We'll leave it there. It's 24 minutes to 7. For those who like skiing, we've got a ski report with Adrian here, but speaks to me.
Comments, okay, so I say big weekend of sport coming up here on 2GB. Right, your turn.
What a bore. Get a life.
Yes, that's right.
Get a proper job. Do your parents know what you do?
Andrew, thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Because Andrew will argue. Oh, no. They're not copying the big league. Yes, they are, Andrew. They're copying the big oafs that whiz around in the league. Of course they are. Ban sport. When I become premier, no more sport. No more arts either.
Oh. The talk of breakfast. Clive Robertson.
Is there a difference? Not really.
On 873 2GB.
Now, the meetings continue today. Australia's media's credit ratings have been placed under review following news of its plans to merge with pay television Foxtel. So what was that business the other day? Remember they stopped the trading, right? And then they said to Australia's, hello, we've stopped trading. Are you considering a merger? Oh, no, sir. And so a couple of days later, they're back on there, and then we find this. I mean, what is this? Well, shouldn't they ring us first? It seems to me there might be a merger that's imminent. Australia's shares have been suspended from the Australian Stock Exchange to allow the market to absorb details of the deal. What a quaint expression. Actually, I'm absorbing some details now. Through the fingers. But analysts say the merger is a major plus for the upcoming float of Telstra. I wonder what... We can never get hold of Optus. I'm not anti-Optus at all. It'd be terrific to talk to a boss of Optus and say, what do you think about this? Because this could screw up Optus no end, this whole thing, this merger. It seems to me, as a layman, it's unfair that the two of them get together because they're in trouble and poor little Optus is left out there fending for itself. That's merely as a layman. I don't know the ins and outs. I can never remember who owns what. I think Mr. Packer owns all of them, or Mr. Murdoch owns all of them, or whatever. Or Mr. Packer's marrying Mr. Murdoch. Something like that. I can never work it out. All I know is that we don't have anything, and we just flick it on our remote and we say, oh, that's boring. Let's go out for a pizza. So I don't know how Optus feels. But Optus, if you're a little bit sort of more approachable... I mean, it took me ages just to talk to you about the cables, remember? It took ages. And then you're quite all right when you came on. I'd just be intrigued to know how you feel about this. You know, what are you going to do about it? It does seem to me a fraction unfair. But then again, we don't know what's going on, do we? We're always the last to know. You know, that society is the last to know. Garth Brooks, the second most boring person that ever existed. In fact, Lee Kernaghan, I think, wants to be Garth Brooks. They're both from the same American town, which is interesting. Garth Brooks' forthcoming free concert in Central Park could cost the country singer a bundle. Here, good. Brooks had planned to release his new album the same day, hoping sales would help offset the cost of the outdoor show in New York City. But the sudden closing of his record label last month has delayed the album release. Most people just have a falling out with their manager. His whole record company goes flat. Among the 175 EMI record employees fired by its British parent company were the only people Brooks trusted to launch the new album. I didn't know EMI was in trouble, did you know? When this record thing went down, I didn't sleep. I can see a song on this. When this record thing went down, I didn't sleep. He said, with no album to promote, Brooks said staging the massive August 7th concert will cost him more than his fee from HBO. That's the network, which will broadcast the event. But we made a deal going on. That's the big deal. And I'll tell everyone, and they'll be on site. They were there with Willie Nelson. You know, when Willie Nelson had all those concerts so that he could get him to pay his tax, everyone was on side. The thing is, of course, that Willie Nelson's not boring, whereas you are, sir. That's the subtle difference. So I hope it costs him a lot. I hope it costs him lots. Then they get, Barbara Streisand will do one. Oh. Danish researchers say they've found that men, on average, have about 4 billion more brain cells than women. But they haven't figured out what men do with them. I know. I know what... Bente Pakkenberg? Not Bente Pakkenberg. A Copenhagen Municipal Hospital neurologist who led the research project. You know why he did it? Because he had 4 billion more cells than Mrs. Pakkenberg. Told Danish radio Tuesday, in fact he told a Danish radio on Tuesday, but someone heard him talking to it, that the conclusions came from an examination of the brains in 94 cadavers. Lady cadaver. She just lay there, there's no response ever. Yes, she was dead. It's the next one along. Oh. 94 cadavers of people aged 20 to 90. We don't use the word cadavers like that. That's ex-people, isn't it? That's right. Their souls have gone, haven't they? Mm-hmm. The average number of brain cells in males was 23 billion. What? How did he count them? 1, 2... How do you count 23 million brain... How do they do that? They put so much per square, millimetre and multiply it by the thing. Oh, come on. It was 23 billion, while the females had about 19 billion, she said. Well, that would be right, wouldn't it? 19, and during PMS, about 1 million. Was it a fair sample? I don't know. He did 94 cadavers, because they were dead people, weren't they? They were brain dead. Asking what the males might be doing with the surplus, Pakkenberg said, right now it's a mystery. The knowledge we already have shown men are not smarter than women. She said. Oh, hold on. Is that a she? So is Bente, is that a female, is it? Copenhagen person. Oh, that makes it more objective. Oh, it is, yes, it is. No, quite right. I was only joshing with you there. All right, right now it's a mystery. The knowledge we already have shown men are not smarter than women. Oh, well, she's just being subjective then, isn't she? Oh, she screwed it up with her subjectivity. Oh, there you are. Oh, who can believe that then? She's just being jealous. Well, they got rid of that research, didn't it? Yes. Well, she shouldn't. Nearly half of all the girls, just under a third of all the boys, eat fresh fruit regularly. Nearly 40% of older girls always eat low-fat spreads rather than butter. We know why, don't we? You know, we know why. The children are also cleaner. More brush their teeth twice a day instead of once. Among 14 and 15-year-olds, 40% have a bath at least once a fortnight, compared with once a month 10 years ago. About half of the teenagers had drunk alcohol in the previous week, with lager being the most popular drink, and 50% were drunk while actually doing the survey. I threw in a few little statistics there to add a bit of spice to what was otherwise just, just a standard sort of survey. The question is, which ones? And the Poms are saying, he's bloody doing it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, live, on stage, the Rolling Stones.
If I just staggered out all this chaff and stumble around on stage, would you pay to see it for $70 a seat? Or do you think that we should act our age? Act our age. If I forgot my incontinence pad, if Charlie forgot his tea, if Keith forgot to breathe, would you all get up and leave? Would you just laugh till you heave? Would you heave? I know we're getting very old, but we can't help it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones have left their body. The Rolling Stones have left their body.
But, yes, I'd like to go on a decent cruise. The last time I was on a reasonable ship, apart from the South Stain, the little languishing steamer, was on the TSMV Duntroon when we left this place to go to Western Australia via the Bight. And I spent 10 days in bed with seasickness. I wanted to die. It was often the purser came in and said, well, who does your room? It's not the purser, whoever. Said, get out, I can't do the bed if you're here. First time I discovered there were theatrical people in this world, Leslie. The steward said, I'm sorry, I don't care how you feel, I've got to do the bed. I said, I'm going to die. I don't care about that. And I thought, this is a bit unpleasant. I think I got off fairly lightly under the circumstances, though. Oh, yes. It was a lisping time for 10 days. I didn't tell them it's the first time I've confessed this. I was oppressed on the Duntroon. It was an awful trip, and of course getting to Perth, the other side of the world, just as soon as I said they were from the east. Oh, you're from the east, are you? And that little parochial, boring people. However, nothing's changed, except I think the Duntroon is now shaving someone's face at Cremorne now, isn't it?
Number joke 286. This is a bit like a Chinese place. Dolly Parton is tops, despite the knockers. You know, she's tops despite... Yeah. Call that a number, Andrew, and I'll give you a joke.
208.
208. 208.
What's the definition of impossible? Dolly Parton falling flat on her face. Sorry, what's 208?
There's always one, isn't there?
Sorry.
208. I married my wife because she saved my life. She begged her father not to shoot. Another one before you go?
109.
109. 109. It's hard. You see how hard it is to remember a number? It's really quite amazing. I mean, he had numbers up to 1,000. But
did I? Well, okay, I'll go 999.
You like big numbers,
999.
999. 999 from Andrew Moore. I've got the most wonderful wife in the world. I hope her husband doesn't catch us. Here's a story which I didn't see yesterday, but I saw it this morning and fell about laughing. In Fairport, Iowa, a man who tied his dog to the bumper of his truck and then dragged it for nearly 2 miles at speeds of up to as high as 55 miles per hour said he's surprised the dog didn't bark. That's his only reaction. The old fellow didn't seem to bark. You know, what's wrong with him? Didn't seem to bark. I would have barked if I'd been that dog. Tippy, a 2-year-old black Pekingese. Do we like them, do we? It's got Pekingese here. Survived, although its side and paws have been rubbed raw by the pavement and its face was bloody. A veterinarian said the animal will need surgery, but did not elaborate. Ooh. Perhaps they'll do a few snips down the bottom end as well while it's there, so it won't reproduce. The owner, Merlin John Lang, 46, that is my name, sir, was charged with animal neglect, drunken driving, and an open container violation. Oh, an open container violation. I don't think I've come across that. Animal neglect is punishable up to 1 year in jail and a $1,000 fine, Police Sergeant Steve Lawrence said. The only thing he has the nerve to say that it was the dog's fault for not alerting him that he was tied back there. If you can believe that. Well, thing should have barked. I would if I was it. Lang said he chained Tippy to the bumper while the family was at a recreation area, which is very much like National Lampoon's Vacation. And the item here from CNN has not drawn that comparison. That's why I'm here, to remind you of the associations of stories. There you go. He should have barked. What's wrong with the fella? Which end am I looking at? Is that? Oh, I see. There you go. There you go. What a strange world that we live in, as Leon Russell would say. Strange world. It's 10:30. It's long been known that substance abuse often leads to violent behavior, but the Journal of the American Medical Association reports this week that the correlation is dramatically higher than suspected. The study shows that those who abuse alcohol and drugs, we don't abuse it. You awful little bottle. You are a despicable little brown bottle. What are you doing, dear? I'm abusing alcohol. It isn't abusing, is it? We've lost the touch of English. The study showed... Meanwhile, on the subject of other princesses, Swedish Crown Princess Victoria has won her case against the Swedish weekly tabloid, which published fake photos of her head on the body of a bathing suit-clad model this spring. Now, I'm sure that Swedish Crown Prince Victoria, given the chance, would say, she has a gorgeous body. I don't mind this deception. You see, everyone say, "Oh, you seen Victoria? Oh." The press council ruled that the magazine had acted irresponsibly and defamed. How would you defame? I mean, we assume this is a gorgeous little creature with all the appropriate bits. Women are weird, aren't they? They reckon they defamed the 20-year-old princess. The tabloid must now publish the press council's ruling and pay a service charge of $3,450. The palace had filed a complaint against the magazine, arguing that the magazine behaved unethically. Although I bet you she bought about 40 copies, didn't she? In the spring, the publication had asked the brown-haired, brown-eyed Princess Victoria to pose for a series of pictures modelling the summer's hottest bathing suits. Oh, she's offended, isn't she, because they changed the body. Oh, hell hath no fury. The palace declined the offer and the magazine published a montage instead. Oh, well, there you are, see. Crown Prince Victoria is the heir to the throne and must tolerate that she is subject to publicity. But the line for what she must tolerate has been crossed here. Although we do like the body, what gorgeous bits. I threw that in to add a bit of spice to it. The hugely popular, that's a stupid expression, I do wish we'd get rid of this hugely, huge to do with the size, like a huge building. The very popular Swedish royals, like those in Denmark and Norway, are largely spared the media frenzy common in Britain and other parts of Europe. Their private lives are generally respected by the media, although disputes do occasionally occur. Wouldn't you like to see the photos? Whoa. Whoa.
whoa. Whatever that is, what would that be in Stockholm? It'd be whoa. Similar, isn't it? Good morning. It's Robertson time again. Yet, oh, is he still there? Oh, Mum, he's still there. Yes, I am. And I'm feeling good today. I've had a lot of walking this week. A lot of walking. I'm very, very pleased. There's no doubt about it. When I got caught a couple of times this week where I had to walk and I didn't particularly want to walk, but that seems to make you, doesn't it? It's when you have to go that extra time, which is one of the joys of bike riding. I was just talking to Mr. Starr here. He belongs to an exclusive club. We won't go into details. And I was suggesting, why don't you get a bicycle and perhaps cycle round the Olympic Park there and what have you, avoiding all the trucks and what have you. That big building, by the way, you can see for a long way away. It's huge, isn't it? Bike riding. What we need is a proper cycling centre. I mean, through parks and what have you. What we need is a really a bitumenised one, right? Big enough with a little line down the middle for left and right, so you don't suddenly get confused by some American running into you because you're here both on the left. We need it that goes through trees and what have you, and across a little bridge. Somewhere in Sydney we need something dedicated that would go perhaps 10 kilometres. Don't you? No, and they can't have pedestrians on it. You see, that's the problem. When you go to Bike Centennial Park, as I like to call it, you can run into people, little kids that run across. Well, I mean, I think running over a child with your bike and perhaps maiming it or something takes the sheen off the trip. You tend to think, won't go there again. I wonder if it's too late to do that. That'd be a great idea, wouldn't it? And perhaps flowers along the way, so it becomes a fragrant experience as well. That'd be good. And if you're an asthmatic, you can just cry your way all the way around. I think it'd be a great idea. But we'd have to make sure we don't have loony people going at 1 kilometre per hour. It'd have to be, only for blokes. Yeah, bloke one. Yeah, blokes. In which case you wouldn't bitumenise, would you? Be bloody gravel, mate. What, some sort of buff, are you? And the girls one, of course, they have to have girl bikes. That'd be, what would they? I don't know what they'd have. Some, they could all go 1 kilometre per hour and do each other's hair, have cups of coffee at the end. Say, men, aren't they bastards? All that. I think we've covered that quite well. Thank you. You don't get that sort of service. Alan wouldn't give you that sort of service. Alan's busy telling what's wrong with the world. Here, you know what the world is really like. You understand this uppercase, lowercase thing, don't you, Mr. Starr? You understand that they've... Well, yes, you lose comprehension, because you look at the newspaper, right? You have a look at any newspaper, it's up in lowercase. If it's all uppercase, which is capitals, you can't see what are the capital words. You can't see punctuation. You see? Of course, I might mention that a lot of the newspapers here have lost the art of writing, as is evidenced by Mr. Aquilino desiring to bring in a decent English course. They don't use inverted commas for quotes of things. Double inverted commas is exactly what someone has said. They use single inverted commas. What does that mean? They don't use them at all. They don't use them for proper names. I mean, they just are illiterate. The whole point of punctuation and all that was to inform people. It was communication, like Father's Day, S apostrophe, because it's more than one father.
Be nice.
Okay, stupid. In the wrong world, aren't I? What colour's your hair today? It isn't natural. You've done something to it. I believe that you were standing next to some traffic lights yesterday and you caused 3 accidents. They couldn't work out your hair was orange. They just assumed they could make it through the lights. Oh, what is wrong with you? You know the instruction book you have in a car or for a VCR? Yours for life you never got, did you? They said, here's the child. It's factory second. Yes. It's called Ben. Gentle Ben. It's 14 minutes past 5. Also, Choice looks at funerals and the cost of funerals. I don't know. Just don't have a funeral. I mean, don't indulge yourself. I mean, people get up and tell lies, don't they? Look at all the lies said about Princess Diana. No one said any things about her while she was around. They said, like her hair. She's worn that dress before. Oh, why does she go on about landmines? These are things I heard the last month. Then we all lie when she dies. It's quite strange, isn't it? It's because we're confronted with mortality, and that's what gets to us. You know, that's the trouble with funerals. People lie. They should get up and say, here's an old bastard, glad he's gone. At least there's an honesty there that say, oh, yes, we shouldn't say it, but you are right. He was a difficult person, quite difficult.
The fishing info line. Call 1902 272 555. You'll be hooked. 1902 272 555.
Isn't she so lovely? Wouldn't you love to live next door to that woman? She'd say, "G'day, how you going? I'm just throwing some garbage over the fence." It's 5:16 on 2GB. I just don't want Oprah to be on television anymore. She interrupts people. You know, she could interviews, no matter who she interviews, she interrupts all the time. She keeps looking at herself on the monitor, right? If someone sings, she'll sing along with them badly and cry. I mean, it's like a really bad relationship, isn't it? Because you're saying, why watch? I don't. I flick around. You know, when the commercial breaks aren't coincident, you flick around during the commercial breaks, don't you? This is a nice chick on the commercial break. And you see Oprah, you see. This is the whole point. I mean, that's why when it comes to these diaries as to what actually one watches, I don't think a lot of people watch a lot of these things all the way through, do they? I know I don't. I watch any of the main news services. After about 30 seconds, I've lost continuity, and I just go, oh, didn't we have that before? Almost half Australia's adult population has poor literacy skills. You'd identify with this, wouldn't you, Kirsty Baby, wouldn't you? Yes, of course you would. You don't look all coy and girly. Doesn't work with me, kid. The point is that you were too busy sending notes to the boys. You know why you got no response? Because they couldn't read what you wrote. You were illiterate. Meet you at the bike shed later. Probably came out. They had no idea. They probably thought you. I think they thought you were foreign for years, didn't they? They used to say to you, "Welcome to our country." Then for a while they thought you were one of the special people, didn't they? Yes, because you were taught by teachers who don't know. Agreed? Yes. So almost half Australia's adult population has poor literacy skills. Although it was pointed out yesterday, one's perception of how good literacy is not related to how good you are. We tend to think we're better than we are. They have trouble reading bus timetables, or labels, or medicine bottles. But everyone does. Have you ever tried to read them? They say take one pill 3 times a day. Does that mean you get the pill divided into 3? Or do you take it, regurgitate it, take it, I mean, it's a good point, isn't it? If you want to be literal here. And the survey, the aspects of literacy is... what a poncy name, the aspects of literacy. Sounds like got an arts grant and work on Radio National. Now, good morning, it's the aspects of literacy program. Hi, I'm Cyril. Anyway, the survey released yesterday by the Australian Bureau of Statistics found that up to 2.6 million Australians, that's about 20%, including you, Kirsty. It says including Kirsty. Between the ages of 15 and 74, oh, you're out of it there, could not deal with many of the printed materials encountered in everyday life. It's true, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. You're nodding, aren't you? Yes, you are. Why did your Tamagotchi die? Because you didn't read the fine print. There you are. Another 3.6 million people, about 27%, experienced difficulties with everyday literacy. If only you were in that area. That's not good, but it's better than your one. Mr. Howard said the survey results cast doubt on faddish education policies of the past, but he backed his government's emphasis on a move back to basics in literacy and numeracy. And Mr. Aquilina has, in fact, suggested something like that, although I don't understand the press release. And, of course, you look at any newspaper, I mean, it's full of illiteracies all the time. I mean, and these people think it's acceptable. Because their line is now, oh, things have changed. It's a living language. Oh, rubbish, we're killing it. We are killing it. It's such a wonderful language. If you want to see English language at its best, if you heard of Samuel Johnson, have you? You've no idea. Well, who's Samuel Johnson? No, he doesn't play for Canterbury. No, he doesn't. Kirsty. Samuel Johnson, I'll bring in I've got a facsimile of his original dictionary, right? In his foreword to his English dictionary, he explains how he really hasn't got the right to make a dictionary, right? He's a humble man. That is the best English I've ever come across. It was just